Welcome to the Manifesting Millions podcast. I am your host, Rashida McFerrin, and today we're going to be talking about becoming an Ethereum validator. And so, a few years ago, because I'm always looking for ways to build my bag, one thing you know about me or will know about me as you come across my presence is that I am all about getting the bag, increasing the bag, and making the bag work for you. Emphasis on the Manifesting Millions podcast. Hello. Just to give you a little bit of background, if you've never come across me before, I am 18 years in the financial game this year. Well, as of April of this year, I've been into working for blue chip firms for the past 18 years. To name a few, actually, yeah, I don't want to name a few, but if you want to really do digging, you can go to my website and find out more information. But when I say blue chip banks, I'm assuming you know what a blue chip bank is. I've been dealing with alternative assets for the past 14. How old is my son? 16 years? Since the market crash, child. Look, to give you some stats, if you want to know stats, let's talk about coronavirus loan money stats. So in May 2020, I processed anywhere from 30 to 40 million dollars in paycheck protection loans, meaning that I approved. Let me clarify. I was the one that was issuing the final approval on said loan so that businesses could fund. And when the business is funded, that means that what they could pay their employees could pay their bills, and the economy could keep spinning. I pat myself on the back for that because we were working 14-hour days. Child, it was some long. 2020 was a long year for me. But, just to give you some stats, if you're wanting to know where my credit comes from, I did not just pop up off the street. I am nobody's school teacher, daycare teacher, music teacher, daycare worker, Walmart worker, which is nothing wrong with any of these professions. I am just telling you, since everybody and their mama today likes to all of a sudden turn themselves into self-proclaimed financial advisors. While I am not a licensed financial advisor, all of the information you listen to on my podcast or come across on my page is not financial advice. I just talk about my experiences working for top blue chip banks for the last 18 years and how some of the information that I have may possibly help you too. So take it as it resonates. Today, we're going to be talking about becoming an Ethereum validator. A few years ago, I had a few friends, college friends, who were doing Bitcoin mining. And it was seriously complicated. And I've just never been that girl that's like, yeah, more calculus and trigonometry. Yeah, no. I stopped at algebra 2, which was the basic requirement. And then I did college calculus because I had to. Didn't really want to, but it was a requirement in order for me to graduate. I've never been that girl. Super smart in math, but just I remember my senior year, I signed up for trigonometry and I was going into my senior year like, yeah, I'm going to challenge myself this year. And I remember sitting in that class like after like 2 or 3 days, like, what am I doing here? Why would I put myself through this torture my last year of school? I went straight to the guidance counselor and was like, yeah, this is a no. Give me an easy class. And I think I switched it out for like working in the office or something. I didn't want to do anything extra like my senior year. So I dropped that class like real quick. But anyway, Bitcoin mining is just like really complicated. And I was just like, yeah, that's not going to be something that I'm going to pick up. But I started to do additional research on stable coins that were looking for people to join their network. And I came across being an Ethereum validator a couple of years ago. I didn't have time in my corporate job to literally commit to it and set it up. And I waited. Now it's going to cost me what, 6 times the price it would have cost me back then, because I think before Ethereum started popping off, like in 2020, it was running at like $600 to $800, right? And if you bought, how many? Give me a second. Let me calculate. I think it's 32 ETH to become a validator. Yeah, so if you bought 32 ETH and staked it, it was like 25K to become a validator. And then you have to buy the equipment to run the validations. And so I've been doing extensive research on this. And so now it's going to cost me 3 times the price because I waited. And get this part, it's so funny. It's going to cost me 3 times the price. So whereas it would have been 25K to get in now, it's going to cost me like 75K. But the thing about it, like once you get into it and get your systems and machines up and running, like you can make like a ton of ETH on the network. And depending on how fast your machines run, then you may be able to triple, quadruple your output. So say if you got like 4 machines running. And so you're not even doing like manual validation. The way you set up your computer systems is it's literally AI generated. It's doing the calculations and the validations for you and building the blocks. The requirements to become an Ethereum validator are number one, you have to stake 32 ETH. And if you don't know what ETH are, I mean Ethereum. And when I say Ethereum, it is a cryptocurrency that is tied to blockchain technology in Web3. And if you don't know what that is past that, I'm going to encourage you to go to Rashida.ai, click that link up at the top, and sign up for my course, Pennies to Profits Crypto, where I teach Gen Z and millennials how to properly invest in crypto. Anyway, so as I'm trying to figure out the most efficient way to put my systems together in order to get up and running, I'm realizing that this is going to be a thing for us. Like, it's not just going to be me. I think it may be something that we invest in my business. I'm going to do it first on a personal note. And once I get it profitable and up and running and successful, I'm going to continue to add systems to it. I just got to find a place to house it, like maybe in Switzerland or somewhere that nobody can find. So I was looking at this documentary, right? And I think I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of the documentaries on blockchain technology and Web3. But in order to become an Ethereum validator, that's pretty much it. You need the systems and the equipment. You need to be able to stake 32 ETH. And then if you want to run more than one validation system, you need more ETH to stake and more systems. That's it. You thought I was going to be complicated and stuff, huh? Crypto ain't got to be complicated unless you make it complicated. If you sit up and listen to all the brohams, they just make your head hurt, honey. I just like a lot of times I end up just turning them off because I'll start listening to someone and then they'll start getting all technical on me, which is not a bad thing. It's good to know your technicals, right? Like your charts and cycles and things like that, but it's also very boring. Very, very boring. Nobody wants to sit up here and talk about this stuff 24/7, like explaining Fibonacci. And like nobody wants to talk about Bollinger Bands on Ethereum charts. Like real talk. Now, do I encourage you to know how to read it? Absolutely. Is it included in my course? Yes. But child, the last thing I want to do is sit up there and talk to you for an hour about it. Goodbye. No, that's so boring. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about in regards to cryptocurrency is the transaction speeds per blockchain. So I want to talk about let's do the top 10. This is a report coming from Statista.com from January 2024. So this surprises me actually. So this is transaction processing times in minutes. So remember, our whole life, whether you realize it or not, revolves around payments. And for me, at Bank of America for the last 4 years, like I have been focusing heavily on payments, systems payments, processing payments, time payments. I wanted to talk about which network, or I wanted to check to see which network on the crypto blockchain network process transactions the fastest. And as I'm looking at this, it's saying USDC. Now, y'all, USDC just popped up like 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago at the most. But it's saying that it takes 1 minute to process a transaction. Next, we have Avalanche, a minute. Tron, a minute. We have Tether, USDT, 2 minutes. Near Protocol, 2 minutes. Tether USD on the Polygon network is 5 minutes. DAI Polygon network, 5 minutes. Polygon Matic is 9 minutes. Polygon network is built on Ethereum. So the next one is Ethereum Polygon network. It's 10 minutes. Cardano ADA, 10 minutes. And then the Ethereum network is 14 minutes. And remember, Ethereum just moved over to proof of stake a few years ago. I think it's been like 2 years now. Wow. You know what? Bitcoin takes 40 minutes to process a transaction. Yo. Okay, this has been updated. Hold on. This is as of May 22nd. Okay, so it was released at the beginning of January of this year, and then it was updated again on May 22nd, 2024. And so, like, I'm knowing that there are other blockchains that process payments quicker. So Stellar, which one? So Stellar is 5 seconds. XRP is 8 seconds. So what about like 3 to 5 seconds? Wow. IOTA. What about IOTA? Wow, I did not know that. So IOTA can handle up to 1,000 transactions per second. Yo. So here we go. Let's check with the Blockchain Council to see what the top processing TPS transaction per second is related to the blockchain speed, which, like I was saying earlier, how quickly something is being processed on the blockchain. And in this reference, we're talking about payments. So they don't have them listed in any order. So let's start. This is how they have it listed on Blockchain Council's website. I'll post the link in the show notes for this. So Ripple, which is XRP, it takes 3 to 5 seconds. EOS, I don't know what EOS stands for. Truth be told, I've never heard of them. EOS blockchain, they can process stuff around 4,000 transactions per second. That's impressive. I have to look them up. Neo, which was launched in 2014 and rebranded in 2017, has a transaction speed of 15 transactions per second. That's kind of slow. Cardano ADA, 1,000 transactions per second. Solana, SOL. Whoa. Solana is able to achieve transaction speed of up to 65,000 transactions per second. Wow, that's impressive. And to put this into perspective, Visa, one of the most widely used payment processors, can process up to 24,000 transactions per second, while Ethereum, one of the largest blockchain networks, can process around 15 transactions per second. Interesting. But yet Ethereum is still number 2 because it's the network it's being built on. Interesting. Next, we have Stellar. That's my girl. Yeah, XLM. Stellar is XLM. I'm not sure where they got that from. But Stellar can process 1,000 transactions per second. Tron, which is what the USDC is tied to. How much is Tron right now? Hold on. Tron, 15 cents. Tron can process 2,000 transactions per second. Cosmos, which is Atom, can process 10,000 transactions per second. And then we have Ethereum 1.0. You know, they released 2.0. Eventually, Ethereum will be able to process up to 100,000 transactions per second. So that's why they keep doing all the updates. It makes sense. But they got a long way to go, but they're well on their way. And what's the next one? Waves. It's a blockchain platform. It can process 6,000 transactions per second. Algorand, i.e. Algo, can process 1,000 transactions per second. Avalanche, AVA, very familiar with them. 4,500 transactions per second. IOTA, the Internet of Things. They can process 1,000 transactions per second. So I guess the question in regards to research to be asking is, who is going to adopt what in regards to which blockchain? Yeah, that's the question. Who is going to adopt what in regards to which blockchain and how they process transactions the fastest? Because if you think about it, the faster you process transactions, the more money you make. And so the question then becomes, I always have to come here from a regulatory perspective. It's like, how do you regulate transactions that are being run by a machine? Like, what we're looking for doesn't exist now. Like, I know we're on Capitol Hill and trying to get all this regulation together and passed and have a foundation, but like what we're looking for does not exist. It's just like we just passed 9/11 last week. And what was born out of 9/11 financially was the anti-money laundering career field that literally did not exist before that event happened. And so, not saying that this is the same thing comparatively, because it's not, but meaning that in regards to charting our financial future, most of the stuff that we're going to need hasn't even been built yet. Now, that is something to marinate on. And it also means that there is tons of opportunity for the generations to come to get in on the ground level and be a part of building the financial future of this country and eventually the world. That is some exciting stuff. I know I'm a nerd when it comes to finance, but like, this is amazing. It fascinates me to watch the financial process go from being institutionalized down to it being commercialized, down to it getting to a consumer level. It's interesting to watch it and then to see it end up in the hands of just like a regular consumer and how they either accept or reject it. It's an amazing process to watch. But anyway, I started this episode talking about becoming an Ethereum validator. And another thing I want to add is there are other networks, like all these networks that I just talked about. If they're processing all these transactions, they're going to need validators as well. Just food for thought. The where you can be a validator and get in on the ground level and have the possibility of it turning into something amazing in the long run for you. That is all for this episode. I feel like I've talked a lot. And you can find me on Rashida.ai or at RashidaMcFerrin.com, 2 websites. And I'm always on socials, most active on TikTok and Instagram. And I'll post those links in the show notes, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.